I'll be like, holy mackerel, I just talked to my dad and he did the same thing I just did. Now you're starting to connect your childhood with your egos. And now all the stuff in your subconscious is coming forward, whether you're male or female in this aspect, to learn and understand. It's just emotion built to protect the child in the past. And this is where Carl Jung talks about the shadow. The shadow just comes up to protect ourselves from the very thing we weren't allowed to do in childhood, or we had to protect to be safe. And now once we can start connecting the dots, we can start emotionally opening up. Now, when I say it's easy to, it's easier than we think. Your brain learns in 4 stages, okay? And the way I like to explain this to people is I say, if you ask someone to promise to do something never again, you are setting them up for failure right away, because you can't take an unconscious action or behavior and change it right away. Your brain goes through 4 stages of learning, okay? You don't know what you don't know. Then when someone points it out, then you know it, but you don't have the tools to fix it, okay? That's like if you were out on the beach and it's all foggy and you don't know which way to go north, and you look at the lighthouse for direction, okay? That's where the coach comes in and starts giving you the tools to learn emotional regulation, self-awareness, whatever. Then what happens is, okay, now you're consciously competent. Now I have to think about it every day and apply those skills to everything I do. Then what happens is at some point, you become unconsciously competent. Your subconscious brain runs and it changes. That's behavior change. You can't go from A to B or to D right away. You have to go through the process. And this is the thing with coaching and learning about emotional intelligence and becoming a better male and talking about my feelings and knowing the appropriate way to do it is you have to work on yourself. But it doesn't just come with talking to a therapist. It comes with putting the work in every day to unlayer the language that you have, understand why you say it, how do I flip it, looking at all the good things that I am as a person, though we call that gratitude. I look at it a little differently, because talking about yourself and finding the good things every day changes the gray matter of your brain instantly. All right. Now, as you can do that and you start failing, you start finding out where you're going to fail and you start getting better at it. And the way we teach it is, let's say you and I are in a car and we're going to go out to the end of the street and we're going to turn right. I go out to the end of the street, I turn right, and this guy cuts me off. And I start screaming at him at the top of my lungs. And you turn to me and say, Chris, there's a much better way to handle that. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Shoot that. Next day, you and I get in the car. We go out to the street. We're going to turn right again. The guy cuts me off. I start screaming at him. And after I stop screaming at him, I look at you and say, Kia, I could have handled that better. And you're like, you're right. You could have. The next day, you and I get out in the car. We go out to the end of the street. We turn right. The guy cuts us off. I start screaming, but I stop mid-sentence. And you look at me and said, you did it. And I said, I know I did. It wasn't perfect, but I did it. That's the 3rd stage. The last stage, you and I go out into the car. I go out to the end of the street. I'm going to turn right. The guy cuts us off again. And I feel it inside, but I don't say a word. That's how we become unconsciously competent. That's a simple way. But in therapy, nutrition, whatever, we think we can make these grandiose changes right away. Emotional intelligence and understanding ourselves and how to communicate, it's a learn, fail, learn, fail, learn, fail process. And you have to be guided the right way if you look at how neuroplasticity works in your brain through neuroscience to make that work. And, men get real frustrated when they they want to learn about feelings, because they'll say, hey, I tried to open up to her and it just, I fell apart, or she didn't like how I said it. I'm like, it's okay. What did you learn? What egos came up? Who was talking to you? Like, how does that relate to something in the past? Like, we can talk about it. But we got onto this topic about, you don't need to talk about your feelings to become emotionally intelligent. You just got to know what they are. And you got to learn how to see them. And that self-awareness piece, it's cliche now, but it's true. But people have to learn the real scientific mechanics of how to do that. And I think if we take it one step further, the world we live in now, the political landscape, the stress, the economy, all that stress sits in our brain on a daily basis, and what we call our threat level is super high in our brain. So if your brain's number one job is to protect us from the Tyrannosaurus Rex, like running away, but in today's world, all the stress that we live in fills up a bucket. So we look at the brain as a bucket. If the bucket fills over with water, we die. So your brain says, well, I can't overflow, so I'm going to put a spout on the side, and all the spill out is all the things that I don't like. It's physiological problems, tightness, joint pain, all the physical diseases we get. All that stuff is a stress-related response. Applied neurology comes in and helps you decrease the threat level in your brain so you can handle everyday stress. It helps you move better, feel better, helps your metabolism better. Okay, now if I've learned to do that and I feel better, well, now I can do therapy better. Now I can do the work and feel not overwhelmed. I don't feel stressed out. I can learn to self-regulate. And self-regulation is emotional intelligence. We've never been taught all this stuff. And if it's been reinforced for many of us in this era of our life, it's scary to want to learn it because you're asked to do something you've never been told to do.
Okay, so why is it worth it to do this work?
It's a great question. I would ask everyone, in a simple way, what are the goals you want in life? Is it to be lonely and cranky? That's okay, if that's what you want. If you want clarity and direction in your life, if you want a life that's fulfilling and you're doing the things that you love and want to do, and you can have the tools to emotionally regulate and help you through the highs and the lows, this work is needed for everyone. Having lots of money isn't the answer to happiness. I know lots of really wealthy people that aren't happy at all. I know people who are super poor and aren't happy. So what's the answer? The answer is, as they always say, is you got to be happy internally as opposed to looking for external validation to make myself happy. But what is internal validation? It's the same thing as understanding how I feel. Internal validation is finding the ability to understand that being alone is okay. I haven't abandoned. Someone's not going to leave me. Like all of these things that we could associate with childhood and how we're growing up are the same things that make us unhappy as an adult. And we have to ask ourselves, what do I want as an adult? I'll tell you, a lot of people who have money don't care. They think they're fine, but they're not because they don't have the ability to take the accountability to say, I'm not happy. Like I'm buying all these things because I'm actually not happy. Like we don't see it that way. So what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to find a person for you? Okay. Now let's talk about what are the things that hold you back and how can we change one of those things? How can we start the process of being able to handle failure and move forward? If losing weight is going to make you happy, I would say that's not true. I'd say, if you lose weight, what can you do that's going to make you happy? Right? If a guy gets out of bed and he can't see his feet in the morning, he's not upset because he can't see his feet. He might be upset because his wife doesn't want to have sex with him anymore. Or he doesn't feel sexually attracted anymore to himself. Right? Like this is the peeling onion piece. Like it's so many layers deep, just get to the bottom. And then let's work on that and know that it's going to go all different directions before you ever get there. And it's not going to happen in 6 weeks or 8 weeks like all the programs in the world are sold. It's going to happen when it happens. So, one of the things when I work with people, I tell them like, listen, I need a year minimum because it's going to take time because I don't know when it's going to happen. And if it happened before, it never has, by the way, everyone who works and does work like this, they understand it's forever because you're growing, You learn the tools to fire me, and you can do it yourself. How beautiful is that? Right. Think about that. Think about, like, I know therapists, like they have businesses. It's predicated on people coming back and talking about the very stuff that they've been talking about for the last 3 years ad nauseum. How are we helping them? Like like if you look at the numbers, personal training, nutrition, therapy, the success rate's under 7%. Like that's scary. It's really scary.
It is. And I think a lot of it has a very negative, people have a negative perception. It has a bad rep, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, and this is one of the reasons why I like therapy. I enjoy it. But at the same time, I always say that hire a coach for whatever you need or want in life. Like, get a coach, because it's a different thing altogether. If you don't want to go to therapy, okay, that's fine. Get a coach as an alternative that can help you, like you said, learn the tools. Because I always say, once you have the tools in your toolbox,